And so, game week 16 ended in controversy, with bonus points added and removed late on. James Madderson's non-assist awarded to him after he tweeted about it, only for it later to be rescinded. Lewis Hall's second assist standing despite a massive deflection, and FPL managers all over the world left confused as to how such a simple, joyous game has been left needlessly overcomplicated by the introduction of the assistant manager. A chip nobody asked for, which distorts the game mid-season and which takes away from what FPL is all about. And you would think I'd be happy seeing as I own Lewis Hall. I got given those bonus points, my rivals had theirs taken away, and the Assman chip will benefit a true chipmeister like myself. Not to mention how I secured a 5th green arrow in 6 game weeks to take me all the way up to 52,000 in the overall rankings. But far from being delighted, I end game week 16 absolutely furious with the situation.
The anger, all the rage, it's just to cover my loss.
First things first, let's deal with the facts. I'm up to 52,000 in the overall rankings, a position almost every manager in the game would kill for right now. I should be happy. I should be bouncing off the wall. The uncontent creator entered the YouTube field this season, and he's the highest he's ever been at this part of the campaign. And he's done it despite all the pressure he's put on himself being at its absolute peak. And yet all I can think about is just how high I would be if I could get one single bastard transfer right. Do you know how many transfers I've made this season? 14! Do you know how many could be classed as an unequivocal success? Only 2. Only bringing in Chris Wood and Brian Mbumo in game week 6 could be seen as absolutely nailing the transfer, and even those 2 were made as part of a triple transfer where the third one went horribly wrong. 52,000 in the overall rankings, and my transfer game has been an unmitigated disaster. I started the season making 3 striker transfers before one of those banjos finally hit a barn door. I brought in Gabriel for his run of blanks against the shite teams, and then I sold him for Nori instead of Guardiola in game week 9. I had Diego Jota as Luis Diaz tore up the league, and then I made that switch right as their form turned around. I brought in Foden for Saka in game week 8, only to see the filthy animal keep all the change. And even my successful signing of Isak for Mbumo is tainted by Strand Larsen, the man Isak replaced, getting 3 returns since I sold him. And now, in the biggest farce of all, I've blown my triple transfer advantage in game week 15, and it's cost me 20 massive points in 2 game weeks. Do you know where I'd be if I'd missed the game week 15 deadline? I'd be 16,000 in the world, and not only that, I'd have a 33-point lead at the top of the world's greatest mini league, and I'd have 5 glorious transfers to press home my advantage. Instead, I've seen my lead close by a handful of points. I've missed another opportunity to close the gap on the world number 1, and all I see when I look at my team are problems that not even Sherlock could fix without 3 massive hits.
Ugh, breathing's boring.
Is that 3 patches?
It's a 3-patch problem.
And look, I know you see this team here and you see a team that's doing alright. That's a decent enough score for game week 16. It's 12 points above the worldwide average, and it's 6 points above the top 100k average. And that is why I got the green arrow and rose another 15,000 places. Considering none of my big midfielders or my premium defender did anything of note, that's about as good an outcome as you could hope for. for. But don't you see? Where did my points actually come from? Yes, that's right. My two expensive strikers are my budget defender with attacking threat. And that's exactly why I despise that I made that triple transfer Travesty so much. Because I'd wildcarded to perfection in game week 10. I deployed the masterful strategy of front-loading my team and rotating the budget defenders. I'd looked at popular strategies espoused by those big-name content creators dead in the eye. I'd gone against them and I was making them all pay. And I was tearing through the field like Stone Cold Steve Austin in the Royal Rumble. And then I lost my nerve. I blew the big balls call and my cojones shriveled up in the winter chill. Rather than continue to leave those algorithm acolytes in my wake, I spread the funds around my squad like they always tell you to do. And I sold one of my informed premium attackers for the most expensive defender in the game.
The situation went to become worst.
And now I'm no longer headhunting with my sniper rifle. Instead, I'm firing blanks. And now I look to next week's team and I realise I've shot myself in the foot. And I know you look at it and you're saying, bloody hell, Lord Geord, what on earth are you twining about? All you need to do is switch out Nori and Rodgers for a Madden Robinson and that team is absolutely sorted. You could even bench Trent Alexander-Arnold if you wanted. That's how good that team is. And yeah, you might be right, and that might well be what I do. But I've already lost massive squad value on those transfers by refusing to move early. Well, why didn't you just do it, you daft bastard, I hear you say? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I've moved early for precisely 2 players this season, and I bet you can guess exactly which 2 players they are.
Who? I'll tell you who.
You know exactly who. I brought in Joao Pedro the day before a late call-up by Brazil from which he returned injured. And then I brought in Trent Alexander-Arnold 3 days before the Storm wiped out his fixture. That's 2 early transfers I've made, and both times they didn't play the following game week. So yes, I've got to sit here and eat that team value while everybody else gets stronger and stronger and richer, and all that precious momentum I'd built feels like it's swinging further and further back in your favour.
Oh, I wish I had your problems. Oh, listen to this clown, 52k in the world and it's all twine. Some of us are ranked 3.5 million and below and you don't hear us bitching and moaning like this loser.
Oh, this is absolutely true. I know I'm complaining from an entitled position and I should be grateful for those blessings I've been bestowed. However, I'm a greedy son of a gun and I want more and more. I want my highest ever overall ranking. I want that League of Gentlemen Championship for a second time. And furthermore, I want to win this blasted game. And I want to do it this season. So I can walk off into the sunset with my head held high. And every single flaming transfer I make feels like it takes me further and further away from those goals. Still, you never know in this game, maybe it'll all work out for the best. I'm stuck with Trent Alexander-Arnold until that double game week now, and who knows, maybe that'll turn out to be a master stroke. Maybe ending up with a Mad Diallo instead of Bruno Fernandes will grant me more points than if I'd just stuck with a Portuguese playmaker 2 game weeks ago. Maybe keeping Wissa another game week will be a blessing in disguise and he'll put Nottingham Forest to the sword. Or maybe my frustration will continue to grow until that deadline and I'll end up taking a -8. I'm so frustrated that anything feels possible right now. And maybe you're right and I'm seeing problems where they don't exist. I just don't know. All I know for sure is that there are plenty of managers in the League of Gentlemen with problems far greater than my own. Ones which far outstrip my desire to become the FPL World Champion. The Master Chef and Metal Mark haven't even hit 700 points yet. The Ox is down to 33rd and he is dropping like a stone. Flash Funk has yet to hit the dance floor. Slick Rick has hit the skids even with that Spurs triple up doing wonders this week. Iceman Newton has melted away. Who Horner, the artist, Lionheart Lamb and Wooden Spoon Helling have never even got going. The 5 big name veterans, Deadly Daz, Jockin Jeeves, Grinchy Vop, Big Steve the Butcher and Terminator Triss. They've gotten embroiled in their own mid-table madness and only 22 points separate the 5 of them. And I must say though, it seems crazy to me to see those wily operators struggling so much as they are. It's surely only a matter of time before they make it into the top half, especially when they are producing game weeks like Deadly Daz just did, hitting 89 points in a game week where most managers struggled for 60. And then just above them inside the top half are Mac Daddy McMahon, Ginger Ben and King Ding. And the King, he looked all set for a title challenge just a few short game weeks ago. And since then it's been 4 red arrows out of 5 and he's now 113 points off the pace. John Go-Karting has recovered a bit in the last couple of game weeks, but his 12th place is still a long way from that second position he occupied not so long ago. While Mighty Mouse and Sirloin Sean are still over 100 points away from the top. Indeed, only 8 gentlemen are within 100 points of my league leading Lords. And the biggest surprise of all is that Maverick Mikey Patterson is one of them, with these new rolling transfer rules playing right into his mass overhaul strategy and leaving him alongside Hilo Hodgson in joint 8th position. They are both just behind Red Hot Rob and the Rough Rider, with defending champ Dan Gestoso, Cabezas and Brad the Lad not so much further ahead. And this is what I'm on about. For all of my bitching and moaning, every single one of those strong contenders is floundering like a fish out of water. Since I hit the turbo with my Game Week 12 wildcard, all of those respected rivals have faded in my rear view mirror, with only 2 gentlemen left within 50 points of my narrative writing wonder boys. And the secret of their power is they are prepared to make the big balls calls. They take the most chances and they show their biggest cojones. Even though Gladiator Glenn dropped to 3rd this week, he still benefited from Madderson's huge haul, a player criminally overlooked in the FPL community this season. But the Gladiator didn't overlook him, no, he kept the faith in Madderz and he was rewarded with a game week saving 15 points, one especially important after Robertson went and got himself a red card. Yet it wasn't quite enough to hold on to second place, with the Dragon soaring right past him despite also suffering the Robertson red. Luckily for the Dragon, he got the big defensive 50-50 correct, with his selection of Lewis Hall over Aitnori gaining him a massive 17 points. And indeed, for all my cries of misfortune, if Robertson had stayed on the pitch, and if the Dragon had started Fernandez over Joao Pedro like any sensible manager would have done, I'd be in second place in the League of Gentlemen right now. So I really shouldn't complain too much, especially when all my problems are of my own making. Indeed, week continue to discover the swings on these 50-50 calls are extreme. And this week it was the Dragons' turn to thrive, while I was left licking my wounds and cursing the impetuous nature of that triple transfer gambit. And now the balance of power in the League of Gentlemen seems to be shifting again, and I simply must respond immediately, because after all of the anticipation, all the build-up and all the hype, it is finally here. Get that turkey in the oven, make sure to leave out the cookies for Santa, and don't forget the carrot for that red-nosed reindeer, because the moment we've been waiting for is upon us. The Festive Frenzy is here, and over the Christmas period our FPL seasons will be defined. There's no space to breathe between game weeks, there's no time for emotions to settle and cooler heads to prevail. It's just match after match, points upon points, and big call after big call. This is the part of the season where the narratives are crafted, where the contenders are crushed, and where champions are forged. And over the next couple of weeks I won't be making any videos. And before you ask, no, I'm not fleeing the country with my ill-gotten gains from winning the FPL Juice Content Creator Fund for December. Though I do want to take a moment to thank you so very much for voting for me and for giving a huge slice of validation to this insecure desperado. To know that I've got so many people supporting me on this journey means the absolute world to me. And my promise to you is that that prize will go back into making these videos as good as they can be, to help keep you all as entertained as possible, and to hopefully get those views and subscriber numbers I'm so addicted to rising. Once again, thank you so very much for all your support and for helping to make all these efforts of mine worthwhile. I'll be back in the new year with the next update, and I can only hope I'm still top of the League of Gentlemen and that the world #1 is a little bit closer. And who knows, maybe I'll thrive in this 4-game week Festive Frenzy and all my dreams will come to life. After all, you've all given me that winning taste back between my teeth, and that could spell disaster for the Dragon, for Gladiator Glenn, for the rest of the gentlemen, the world #1 and everybody else in between. But maybe I'm FPL's Jack Nicholson and this is as good as it gets.
Listen, I really think you have a chance here. I mean, the best thing you have going for you is your willingness to humiliate yourself.
Maybe putting the weight of the FPL world on my shoulders is too much for me. Maybe it's all gonna come crashing down, and those 38 vultures in the world's greatest mini-league are gonna feast off my carcass. And maybe this documentation of my season will demonstrate to you all what a true FPL nightmare really is. Either way, I'll be doing absolutely everything I can, not only to become the FPL World Champion, but also to keep you hooked on the greatest narrative in the game. And this, my friends, is what FPL is all about. These are the periods in the season we live for. These are the game weeks that live on forever in infamy. And so ahead of the festive frenzy that threatens to consume us all, let me just say, may all your transfers be successes. May all your arrows be green. And may those FPL gods be in your favour. Fill Santa's sleigh with sacks of green arrows by hitting that subscribe button, and we will see you next time.
It's an FPL Nightmare, got me pulling out more, yeah. I'm the greatest football manager to ever never graced the old armchair, but the FPL gods hate me, and no one seems to care that my points are only average, and my ranking is not fair.